Quote, remember what Trump did to North Carolina a couple of years ago after they got hit by a different hurricane. Roy Cooper, a Democrat, was governor then. Trump withheld federal funding for about 2 weeks on purpose while people were flooded out of their homes around the coast and further inland. Alright, Trump made a visit to Georgia today in an attempt to help administer relief to Americans suffering from Hurricane Helene, and while it's a nice gesture, this event would have ended any normal politician's campaign in any normal reality. For some context, in 2004, in American politics, Howard Dean had to suspend an otherwise strong campaign because of one awkward scream on stage, and it wasn't even that awkward. 20 years later, Donald Trump is able to, as the lead Republican candidate, visit a state that is in a state of crisis and read off a piece of paper like a robot for 5 minutes, walk off like he won, list off his vacuous business-like rhetoric saying that nobody's ever seen anything this big. He said about 5 times, it's so big, it's just so big nobody can believe it. He says the same stuff as he always does, but just in a slightly more low energy tone. We have a lot to break down with 36 days to go. Let's begin with this tweet from Tommy Vitor that points out how this would have ended Trump's campaign in any normal reality.
Well as North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Virginia, Alabama, and Tennessee. That's our big one. And the devastation wrought by this storm is incredible. It's so extensive. Nobody thought this would be happening, especially now it's so late in the season for the hurricanes.
So that is just wrong. Also, I hate how he goes, it's a big one. Nobody ever thought this could happen. It's just the same stuff he always says. Tommy Vitor from Pod Save America says, it is not late in the hurricane season. We are in the middle of hurricane season. This kind of comment would be treated as a political disaster for any other candidate, but somehow Trump says idiotic shit like this all the time and it just gets lost. It's not just idiotic stuff, it's also scary stuff. That was a rally 2 or 3 days ago when Trump got the crowd to chant, lock her up about Kamala Harris. Actually, that was yesterday. 2 days ago, Trump made insane comments about immigrants at the border. Every single day, it's something new with him. So yeah, you can't fault us for forgetting about 1 or 2 things that he says. And the broader point is, this would end the campaign of any normal political candidate in any normal reality. Also, the same thing with Donald Trump's posts on Truth Social. These should be campaign career ending, even just what he's posted today. Let's go into the Lion's Den and read a few of these. 3 hours ago, Trump said, the Democrats are interfering with my campaign by not giving us the proper number of people within Secret Service that are necessary for security. They're using them for themselves, even though they don't need them. They draw flies because they have no crowds. And for people like the president of Iran, who is doing everything possible to kill me, we need Secret Service now. It is election interference. Everything is election interference for Donald Trump. But yeah, we have prioritized Donald Trump with the Secret Service. But at the same time, when you have multiple world leaders visiting in 1 week, we had Zelensky, we had the president of Iran, we have VP Harris and Tim Walz doing their own campaigns in separate states, and VP Harris is holding massive events. You guys have seen the videos, don't believe Donald Trump's lies, so he's just making up another case of election interference. He then said, I will be doing a personal play-by-play of the debate tomorrow between the brilliant J.D. Vance and the highly inarticulate Tampon Tim Walz. I didn't even realize Trump was using this nickname now. Another example of something that should be campaign ending. Like, could you imagine if Howard Dean, during the primaries in 2004, called one of his opponents tampon whatever? That would end his campaign much more than that scream. Just, we descended into such chaos within American politics. He said, I hope that cognitively challenged lion Kamala Harris will be listening. Calling someone cognitively challenged would have absolutely ended a campaign back in 2004. I hope she'll be listening so that she can show the world how she will make up false facts and stories in order to change around an administrative failure. In any event, I will be commentating on what is going on. Wasn't J.D. Vance the one that admitted to creating stories on CNN, straight up, full stop? Here's Donald Trump saying, another fake and staged photo from someone who has no clue what she is doing. You have to plug the cord into the phone, and he's referring to VP Harris listening to music. It's just at a weird angle, or a lot of times politicians have multiple phones for security purposes. Of course, he is pushing his QAnon conspiracy theories, as he always does. Let's watch this clip of Donald Trump talking about climate change after dozens of people had already died from the hurricane. Then we will break down his speech today.
Now we call it, do you ever notice, this was such a big deal, the environmental stuff. I haven't heard the environmental stuff mentioned in 6 months. I was saying the other night, what the hell happened to the environment? David, will you figure this out?
This was after dozens of people had died from the hurricane, and Trump wants to continue to undermine every single aspect of science. Now, finally, here's Trump as he was speaking today, and there is nothing too insanely offensive about this. He does tone it down, but the way that he's speaking really rubbed me the wrong way and made me cringe. He doesn't talk about immigrants or anything wild, but he keeps repeating, "It's a big one. Nobody ever saw this coming." He says this is bigger than anyone's ever seen about 4 times, which proves that he is a robot who is going through a script like a dialogue tree, and he can't actually engage with any sort of facts. If he met with Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping or Kim Jong-un, again, they would eat him for lunch, or they would eat his lunch. Which one did VP Harris say? She said one of those. And it's because Trump can't engage with any topics.
To all sorts of equipment that's going to help them. But we're here today to stand in complete solidarity with the people of Georgia and with all of those suffering in the terrible aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene turned out to be a big one, like just about the biggest that anyone's seen. I spoke with all of the relief people, all of the people that do this for a living and do this at least to help, and they said they've never seen one this bad. Valdosta has been ravaged. The town is very, very badly hurting, and many thousands are without power. They're running low on food and fuel. We brought a lot of it down with us. It's going to be distributed now or soon throughout Georgia, as well as North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Virginia, Alabama, and Tennessee. That's our big one. And the devastation wrought by this storm is incredible. It's so extensive. Nobody thought this would be happening, especially now it's so late in the season for the hurricanes.
It's not late in the season, again, and I really quickly want to point out this post from Alex Cole. Quote, "Remember what Trump did to North Carolina a couple of years ago after they got hit by a different hurricane. Roy Cooper, a Democrat, was governor then. Trump withheld federal funding for about 2 weeks on purpose while people were flooded out of their homes around the coast and further inland." Back to Donald Trump's vacuous speech.
Homes, hospitals, highways, and cars have been plunged underwater. Entire neighborhoods have been turned into lakes. Nobody's seen anything like it, and to every family that's been displaced here in Georgia and North Carolina, which has really been hit. We were going there also, and they don't have communication. They don't have anything right now. We're trying to. I just spoke to Elon. I'm getting him. We want to get Starlink hooked up because they have no communication whatsoever.
Let me tell you, this is all just a stunt for him. He's going to try to show that he can negotiate certain deals. And let me say, if he is able to get Elon to help the people of North Carolina, if his team is able to get any relief, then that is overall net positive. I do want the people of North Carolina to get help. Don't mistake that whatsoever. I think that it is very, very urgent. But the way that he's doing it is very vacuous. And I have already read reports that his whole political stunt closed down the area and caused more of a disaster than necessary in an area that already had an influx of people from the hurricane trying to come for safety. So I've just heard a lot of stuff about how this event has been a disaster, and the one thing that truly rubbed me the wrong way was the way that Trump kept going over and over. "It's a big one. It's a big one. Nobody's ever seen anything like it before." Then he talks about how he talked to other people and they'd never seen anything like this before. I don't know what he's trying to sell us. He's trying to sell us that he's the only one that can save people from this massive disaster. I don't know. But while this is happening, while they were on the way there, Trump was schizophrenically posting about VP Harris and cords in her phone. Just absolutely insane stuff. The witch hunt by Letitia James is so bad. This was 36 minutes ago. Trump spoke like 48 minutes ago. That means Trump immediately after this speech hopped off and started typing in all caps again. I don't get it. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, hit that subscribe button. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out.